The story of the Philippine Navy's modernization is far from over with the commissioning of BRP Miguel Malvar. While the first of the Batch 2 frigates has already entered service, the fleet is now waiting for its twin, the BRP Diego Silang, FFG-7, to join by late 2025 or early 2026. Together, these two warships represent not just an expansion in numbers, but the creation of a new foundation for the country's maritime defense. The Miguel Malvar proved that the Philippines could finally field a true frigate with area air defense and advanced combat systems. The Diego Silang will complete the picture, transforming the Philippine Navy's backbone from symbolic modernization into a credible operational force. The origins of the Diego Silang lie in the same frigate acquisition program, Batch 2, that produced the Miguel Malvar. This program was born out of dissatisfaction with the Rizal-class, which, while a breakthrough at the time, was constrained by budget limitations and delivered in a fitted-for but not with configuration. Manila understood that symbolism alone would not suffice in an increasingly dangerous South China Sea environment. Thus, Horizon 2 modernization included the acquisition of 2 more advanced frigates, contracted again to Hyundai Heavy Industries, but this time at nearly double the cost of the Rizal-class. The Diego Silang, named after the Filipino revolutionary hero, carries with it both technological significance and symbolic resonance. Technically, Diego Silang mirrors the design of Miguel Malvar. It is based on HHI's HDF 2600 platform, larger and more capable than its predecessors. The most important distinction from the Rizal-class is the inclusion of a vertical launch system, which provides the capacity for medium-range surface-to-air missiles. This transforms the ship into more than just a self-defense platform. It can now offer area air defense for a task group, covering smaller vessels and amplifying fleet survivability. The radar suite is upgraded to an advanced ESA system capable of multi-target tracking. Anti-ship missiles, most likely the Haisong, but potentially open to harpoon or naval strike missile integration, ensure offensive punch. Submarine warfare capability is strengthened with more advanced sonar and the ability to operate seamlessly with the Navy's AW-159 Wildcat helicopters. If Miguel Malvar was the proof of concept, Diego Silang is the force multiplier. With 1 frigate, the Navy gains a leap in capability. With 2, it begins to create sustainable presence. A single frigate can only be in one place at a time and is limited in endurance. 2 frigates of the same class, operating together or deployed in rotation, allow Manila to maintain a more continuous and credible patrol pattern in contested waters. The psychological effect on both allies and adversaries is profound. This is no longer a lone ship but a pair, a nucleus around which task groups can be built. Strategically, the Diego Silang's entry into service will raise the total number of modern frigates in the Philippine Navy to 4. 2 Rizal-class, and 2 Miguel Malvar-class. For the first time in history, Manila will field a small but genuine backbone fleet. 4 frigates may not sound like much when compared to China's massive navy, but for the Philippines this is transformational. It means the ability to rotate ships on deployment while others undergo maintenance, the ability to cover multiple areas of the archipelago, and the ability to contribute meaningfully to joint operations with allies. With 2 ships of the same advanced configuration, Manila gains both interoperability and redundancy. Regionally, the implications are clear. Once Diego Silang is commissioned, the Philippines will no longer be the weakest link among Southeast Asian navies. Compared to Indonesia's growing fleet of Sigma and Frem frigates, or Vietnam's Gepards, or Malaysia's troubled Maharaja Layla program, Manila's 4 modern frigates place it firmly in the middle tier of ASEAN maritime forces. This alters perceptions and strengthens Manila's diplomatic hand. When engaging in naval dialogues or participating in exercises, the Philippine Navy will now be seen as a partner with serious assets rather than a token participant. This shift in prestige is as important as the raw combat capability. Another dimension to consider is the political symbolism of the ship's name. Diego Silang was a revolutionary leader who fought against Spanish colonial rule in the 18th century. Naming the ship after him is a deliberate statement of national pride and resilience. Just as Miguel Malvar represented defiance during the Philippine-American War, Diego Silang carries the banner of independence and struggle. Commissioning ships with such names sends a message not only to domestic audiences, but also to external observers. These are warships tied to the identity of the nation, intended to defend sovereignty against coercion. Of course, much depends on how the Philippine Navy integrates Diego Silang into its force structure. With 4 frigates, Manila will need to think carefully about doctrine and deployment. Will the ships primarily escort supply missions and assert presence around contested features in the West Philippine Sea? Will they focus on joint patrols with the United States, Japan, and Australia, reinforcing collective deterrence? Or will they be used to build up independent Philippine task groups capable of standing alone? Each path carries different strategic implications, but the central fact remains: the Diego Silang gives Manila options that simply did not exist before. The question, however, is whether this is enough. 4 frigates cannot be everywhere at once, and they cannot alone secure an archipelago of more than 7,000 islands. Chinese naval and Coast Guard forces remain overwhelmingly larger and more heavily armed. Thus, even as the Diego Silang nears commissioning, attention is already turning toward the next step, Batch 3. Will Manila seek to acquire additional frigates, perhaps 2 or 4 more, to create a fleet of 6 or 8 modern ships? Or will it aim higher, investing in light destroyers or even the country's first submarines? Horizon 3 modernization may well determine whether the Philippines locks in its current progress or takes the next bold leap. For now, the Diego Silang represents completion. It completes the pair with Miguel Malvar, solidifying the gains of Batch 2. It completes a chapter of Horizon 2 modernization, proving that the Philippines can acquire, integrate, and operate advanced warships. It completes the narrative of transformation, turning the Philippine Navy from a symbolically modernizing force into a fleet with genuine combat credibility. The Philippine Navy of 2020 could not credibly contest air or sea space against a major power. The Philippine Navy of 2026, with both Miguel Malvar and Diego Silang in service, will be able to offer at least limited area air defense, credible anti-ship strike, and sustainable presence. That difference is enormous. It does not make the Philippines invincible, but it ensures that Manila is no longer defenseless. So as the Diego Silang nears its delivery, the real story is about completion and beginnings at the same time. Completion of Batch 2, completion of the Navy's first true backbone fleet, and the beginning of a new phase in Philippine naval power. The questions now shift to how these ships will be used, how they will be maintained, and what comes next. But one thing is certain: with Miguel Malvar and Diego Silang together, the Philippine Navy has taken a historic step forward, and the regional balance in the South China Sea will never view Manila the same way again. What do you think? Will the completion of Batch 2 with Diego Silang give the Philippines enough strength to hold its ground? Or will it only highlight the urgent need for Batch 3? Share your views in the comments And don't forget to support the channel as we continue to follow the story of the Philippine Navy on its road to 2030.